Hey guys, welcome back. I've got a really special interview planned for you today. I'm really excited to introduce her to you. She interviewed me for her channel, and now I have the honor of getting to interview her about her story with disordered eating and her recovery. So without further ado, please take it away and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jesse. I'm Madlen. I'm from Germany, so close to Berlin, maybe 20 minutes from Berlin, so really close. And I'm almost 40. Yeah, and
I
I'm
said
really happy.
this, I said this on your interview. I'm like, nobody's gonna think
Thank
right now. I'm like, so you're doing it right.
you. Yeah,
Welcome.
it's going good.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, yeah, and so I don't know if I already should jump into the recovery topic.
Absolutely. So why don't we kind of just talk about, what eating disorder you struggled with, and then we can go into your backstory and kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, so I was anorexic, and yeah, I think that's it. So I just wanted to be really, really thin. So I did no purging, didn't take any medicaments or something. I just really, really, I just didn't eat. That's it. Yeah. So
Okay.
just
Don't
wanted
answer.
to be very thin and I was very also over exercising and just not eating.
Right, right. What age did this start for you?
I was thinking about that and I can't really pinpoint it, but it was early. I think I was around 12 when I started my first diet,
Oh God.
because I know
So,
um, I was always like a very tall girl, so I'm almost 180. And my mother, she's like a 165 something. So she was naturally just very much like smaller and smaller than I was. So I always wanted to look like her.
right. Are we talking like centimeters or
Yeah.
what's your guys's is in millimeters? Is that right?
So it's one meters 80 centimeters.
Okay.
So a
Okay.
meter, and she was like 1 meter 60 or something. So much smaller than I was, but and also had a smaller build, right? And I just wanted to look like her. I found, she's a beautiful woman, so I wanted to look like her. And so I started dieting and was not eating at school. I left house just with breakfast, and then I had nothing the whole day. And when I came home, like I had a little bit. And then over the weekends, I was crashing so hard. It was like with the grandma, and she baked beautiful cakes, and I was just like, pff. And each time I was so angry with myself, thinking, why I'm not able to resist this. I am so well during the week, not eating, and then at the weekend, I'm just purging and no, not purging, I'm binging. So
Uh-huh.
and that went on for a while actually, and I lost a little bit of 12, right? So not even having my period yet at that time, I already started messing with my body, and
Wow.
then later on, I couldn't concentrate in school, like because I had no energy. I was just sitting there and nothing really uh,
Exactly.
stuck in
Exactly.
my head. Sorry?
No, I was saying exactly. I mean, how could you
Yeah.
focus? Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't know. I don't know. I was just, everybody was kind of like having diets and we're talking about that and that time. And also I was not really very sportive girl. I like moving, but I was not really good at it. So, just people were like kind of, oh, she's so tall and she's slow. So I wanted to change that. I wanted to be someone else. I didn't accept it, who I was at that time. And then when I went to university, I involved myself a lot in exercise, and I was eating okay, but I always was looking after what I was eating. Not too much sugar. I was a vegetarian for 10 years, also being a biologist, so that was not part of my diet, and there was not so much left. Like carbs and sugar. I don't know, not really taking care of myself and um, being in a weird way of dieting at one hand, but also I was really hungry, so I ate a lot on the other hand, and that
Mm.
went on for years. And it got really worse when I during my PhD time, my biologist. So I'm a biologist, and I
Yeah.
did my PhD in Frankfurt, and I had the possibility to go to Toronto for 3 months. And so I was away from home, away from my boyfriend back then, and I tried to be healthy, to not eat sugar, not indulging with him in pizza, and just like changing my habits. And after 3 months, I came back and I lost like 10 kilos, and they were like looking at me, like, "Wow, you look amazing." And at that time, I think I was about 60 kilos, and before I might had like 70 for my height, which was all normal, but 60, you could see that I got thin.
Yeah.
And so how now, now I'm actually getting closer. So, and then I just pushed it further and further. I was
So real quick, up to this point, you weren't really like losing weight until you really kind of pushed it into high gear, kind of. Really?
Yeah, so I was always like kind of stable. I think my body kind of adapted over time at a certain weight. I think I was always around 70 kilos or something.
Gotcha.
And then I went to Toronto and just really cut out all the sugars. So I had no sweets, basically. The rest I was eating normally. I had like 3 meals a day, trying to be healthy, but I cut out the sugars, and that did a lot for me. I don't know. I lost the 10 kilos. And then I thought, wow, now I'm in. Now I know how it works. Yeah. And pushed it further and further. I exercised more. Then I started the intermediate fasting, and I went keto. I tried a lot of things. I lost more weight. And then I met my fiance. So that was like 6 years ago. And so he comes from his mother is a natural healer.
Yep. I got it.
Nutritionist as well, a nutritionist as well. And he looked at me and said, "Well, you're thin, but you don't look healthy. You look like your body is starving. You have a lot of fat on your belly, but the rest is kind of thin. But it's a sign for me that your body is starving."
Wow.
So the first time in my life he was talking about something, I was like, "What, starving? What is he talking about?" Right? And so he said, "Madlen, you have to eat." That's what he said 6 years ago. And if I just had, heard, like if I would just listened, then it wouldn't have taken me so long. But I started then eating more. I was in love and I didn't care so much. So I let go. I was kind of not thinking about my body so much. And I started eating, and I, of course, gained weight pretty quick. And that freaked me out. Wow. And then I stopped and went back to restriction. Even worse than before. I had like even higher and more strict fasting schedule with 2 days no eating in the week. And then I switched to the 16-8, 16 hours fasting, 8 hours eating.
Which is so tough for women's bodies.
Oh my God. Yeah. And I was so dedicated, like to the second, I looked at my watch like, oh my God, 1 more minute. Now I can eat. It was crazy. And it was everything, my whole life evolved around that. I was thinking about food nonstop, and it got worse and worse. I was doing the intermediate fasting for over a year, and my worst was really 50 kilos, I think. Which at my height was way too low, right? At that point, I still didn't realize that something was wrong. Friends looked at me and said, Madlen, this is not healthy anymore. You have to do something. And it really hit me when my fiance, one evening, he gave me a potato. He said, Madlen, now you eat this potato. And I looked at him, it's like, what? No, I'm not eating this. So it was like he asking me whatever. I said, no, I'm not eating this. And he said, well, I think you really have a problem. I said, no. And he said, well, then eat that potato. I said, no, I'm not eating that potato. And in that situation, I realized, I think something is really wrong here. And that really hit me. And also at the same time, we were thinking about having a family. I haven't had my period in, I don't know how many years. And I think now I'm 40. I would say I haven't had natural period, not more than 20 until my 40th birthday. So since I'm recovered, I have it really regularly. But before I had, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 periods in a natural way, because I was always so low in weight that I never had it. And when I was a teenager, I had the pill. Mm-hmm. Something went wrong. And, and to that day, I can't believe how ignorant I was. Even as a biologist, I should know much better, right?
Well, I mean, I understand why you say that, but it's like, all the information that's out there, including in science and with nutritionists and personal trainers, is to be doing what you were doing. So it's like, if you're not losing the weight, then the only answer is calories in, calories out, and move more, right? So it's understandable. I just need to take a minute to say, like, how incredible is it that the body can turn your menstrual cycle back on for that long? That just blows my mind.
Yeah, and it went really quick. So I'll come to that point when I tell you how I actually went all in. It only took me, I would say, 6 weeks, and I got my period back. So it was just like my body was just waiting for that moment. And I can't tell you how happy I was at that point, because, you know, I haven't had it. And I was even at this child wish clinic, you know, what's wrong with me? And so they started doing all these tests and looking at my hormones. I had practically no female hormones left. There was no, yeah, you know, we were at that point where we wanted to have a family. So I went to that child wish clinic, and they were looking at me and did all the blood work, all the hormones tested. I had no estrogen. I had no, what is all that? All the female hormones. There was nothing left, nothing. There was really nothing measurable. And so the first thing they said, well, we put you onto hormones. And well, me as a biologist, I thought, like, no, that doesn't feel right. I don't want to be on unnatural hormones. And I mean, I was sitting there with 50 kilos, and that's all I had to say. Where the answer and the solution was just me going home and eating and resting, right? So I went out of that clinic backwards. It's like I never go there ever again. And when I came home, I started researching, because they diagnosed me with oh, that's a hard word in English, hypothalamic amenorrhea.
Okay.
So, which is basically you have no period because parts of your brain are stopped giving the signal. So this is actually the worst you can have, because it's really at the base, and it's part of your brain where all the information for the regulation of your body temperature comes. And that's the first thing that will shut off if you don't have enough energy left. And that's how it worked with me. So I read about it, and I informed myself. And I stumbled over a book, No Period, No What, that would help me, because they described that basically what you need is you have to take in more calories and you have to stop exercising. And I was like, wow, that sounds so easy. So that was even saying how much calories at least you should have at my height and my age. And that's how I started. I stopped. The first thing was I ate a little bit more. I just ate more portions. And the next thing was I stopped the intermediate fasting. So it was a little bit step by step. I didn't really jump in just, you know, from one day to another, but just step by step, I did a little more. And eventually my body reacted immediately. Wow. I put on more weight. So when I basically really went all in, I think I already had maybe 57 kilos. So I already gained a little bit of weight. And I think that was necessary for me, because otherwise it would have been too dangerous to really just jump right into it. And eat as much. I was craving a lot of dairy products. At the beginning, I was eating like yogurt and kefir. I don't know, tons and tons. Always had a stomach ache from it, but I was just craving it so hard. And later on, I realized this is exactly what you should do in order to bring back the balance with the minerals and, you know, calcium, magnesium, or you could just risk refeeding syndrome. So my body intuitively knew what to do. And it's still amazing for me to this day.
Really is, isn't it? Wow. Yeah. So we'll get into recovery in just a minute. But basically, so like this was all going through your 20s and 30s, all of these different ups and downs and the research and so forth?
Well, not really. So I met my boyfriend when I was mid-30, and the research and all that ended like, well, what was that? 3 years ago. So when I was at 30. So that was another thing, you know, I felt like, wow, I'm almost 40. I don't know if that works for me. It works for a lot of younger women. They say, you know, if you eat more, then you'll get your period back. And I even thought like, maybe, you know, I'm already in menopause. Who knows? Like,
right. So. Wow. Again, it's just like how truly wise our bodies are if we let them do what they already know how to do, right? But we get in there and we think, I need to control this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. Before I get into a little bit more about recovery, what do you think was your, you know, emotional or root cause? Because you were 12 when this all started. So what do you think that was?
Yeah, thinking back, you know, I was so afraid of gaining weight. Like my cat is mowing. If you can hear it.
If that wants to come on camera, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We'll see. If she's crying more, then I might just feed them in between, and then we'll have to.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
So yeah, thinking back. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying, so you were scared of gaining weight. Like,
Yeah, I
were you
was like,
pressured, like by your parents or your peers? Or because here's why I say that. Like,
yeah,
we oftentimes will say, "Oh no, it was me being super tough on myself, and it's because I had these expectations of me," and that's totally true. But we're not born with those kind of expectations, right? They get taught to us, whether it's by our parents or society or a grandparent or an older sister or something like that. So what do you think that was for you?
So I think it was a combination. Like, my mother, as I said, she was and still is a very beautiful woman. She's very slim, just naturally. She doesn't exercise a lot, but just the way she is. And I always try to be more like her. And I also felt like that she wanted me to be more like her. She looked sometimes at me and said, well, you could lose a couple kilos and then you would even look better, these things. And I was like, so back then I didn't think that much of it, but of course it's not something you should do to should say to your daughter. And the other thing was I was just so afraid of gaining weight. I thought like there must be more of it. It's not that worse to just gain a little weight, but it felt like for me as a life threat. So I was looking into that, and I made an appointment with a psychologist and also like a natural healer. And we kind of did like was that not a meditation, but hypnosis?
Yeah, like hypnotherapy. Yeah, really.
Yeah, kind of something like that to just figure out what it could be. And because I had like vague memories of something that happened to me when I was actually 12. There was a boy in our village where, I just found him really, really interesting, when these times started. So, but my parents said, don't meet with this guy. He's the bad guy. So of course, if they say, don't do this, then you would even more interested in. So one day I remember that I went home with him, even into his room. And since then, I don't have any memories. There was nothing there anymore. I just remembered, being back home and just feeling really weird. And so that part was missing in my life, and I always wondered what it could be. So in that situation, she brought me back to that moment, and then all of a sudden, all the memories came back, and eventually also realizing that he did things that I didn't want it, and I kind of at that point, I guess, I combined the situation of being a woman with, oh my God, this is really, really dangerous, and things can happen as they just did to you. So don't become a woman. I guess this is what I, deep down had as a memory. And then we started going through these memories, and I really worked them, I worked through it. I really felt the pain again. It was not nice, but it was necessary to heal and to really release that energy that was stuck within me. And when we were done, I felt so much better. I felt like there was huge relief just, going from me. And that was the moment where I was able to go all in. Before, I was just so afraid to gain all this weight. And from this point, things actually got really easy for me. That was the biggest barrier I had to overcome and to realize. And from there, things got very, very easy. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for opening up about that, because
yeah, sure.
My career as actually both a personal trainer and as an eating disorder recovery coach, I've seen this type of thing time and time again from women. And like before I even became a recovery coach, I would sometimes, because I'd get to know my personal training clients really, really well and get to ask them questions, and they would eventually open up about the reason that essentially they were afraid to lose weight was because they were afraid that things like that on a subconscious level would happen again. Because it's obviously when you're an adult, part of you will go, well, I'm a grown up now, I can control that. But it's still just this really deep trauma and fear from that younger part of you. So I just want to say, I'm so unbelievably sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, but I also, it's part of my journey, I would say. And as I said, it was hard to go through it again, but that was a experience. I'm now actually, I wouldn't say happy, but it's part of me, and it helped me to just yeah, I don't know. It was an experience that I think now actually I want to share it because I couldn't believe that that controlled my life subconsciously in such a strong way. And I didn't even know, I couldn't remember that, it was just like, as if my body wanted to just bring me to that point and say, Madlen, you have to look at it. There is something, this is not normal and you have to look at it. And I think if there are so strong emotions about something, then there is more, and we should look at it in a deeper level. If you do it, with a psychologist or with a natural path healer, whatever works for you, but just to try to figure out, why are you so afraid of something? And there is a reason for that, right? So, and as you said, I think that goes both ways. For me, it was, just being thinner and thinner so that I'm basically disappearing. Nobody sees me. But I think for many women, it's the other way. Excuse me. That they put on a lot of weight, so they actually have a distance, so that nobody can actually really come through to them. Maybe also the same reason, that's just different for different women or also men. But yeah, I think there is always like a very strong reason for that. And yeah, so
absolutely. And it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't be able, if you hadn't worked through that kind of trauma and realized what had happened at the root of that, there's no way you could have just been like, okay, I need to snap out of this and get better, right?
No.
And to fall off of me or whatever, there's no way that would have happened.
It was so strong. As I said, it was like a life or death threat, right? And that energy was so strong. Even my mind knew I had to change something. I just couldn't, because basically what your body does is it's trying to prevent you. It's like a program to prevent, further harm. But now the situation is different, and now you have to kind of reprogram yourself, kind of. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So we're going to go to recovery. I know you were kind of talking about that a little bit. So as far as when you finally went in, was this through your own research? Did you start finding recovery information on YouTube? Like, how did you go about that? Yeah.
Yeah, it really kind of, one thing went into the other one. I started reading the book, and then I was looking, I never heard about All In or something like, or recovery.
Right.
Yeah. So I was looking it up in the internet, and then I found a couple YouTube channels. And so I binged on the YouTube videos to understand what was actually going on with me. And that really helped me. And I was relieved to see, wow, there is actually, I'm not a unicorn. There are other people out there. And this is actually something that I can fix. At that point, I didn't even think about, is that possible for me? I just felt like, wow, this is my only chance. I have to do this. There's no other thing I can do anymore. I tried everything else. I had all the diets. I had all these things. And now I was just so sick and tired of it that I wanted to really listen to my body and just to give it everything that it needs. And deep down, I felt that this is what I have to do. And then I started. I remember that just like yesterday, I went to the store and bakery and I bought everything that I wanted. I ate it all. I felt so good after. And it was just like a huge relief that all these rules now were just out of the window, that I could just do whatever I wanted. I don't have to look on the watch anymore. And for me, it was just like, oh my God, finally, thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, absolutely. So did you experience extreme hunger, as we say?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I was already experienced it when I was on my restriction. I was thinking about food all the time, and I didn't even realize that this is an issue. It was just so normal for me that I always was thinking ahead, and now, another 4 hours, and then I have my dinner, and what will I have for dinner? Constantly occupied in my mind about the food stuff. And that actually went away pretty quick when I started into the recovery, because I was just really giving in. I had everything I wanted, everything.
Amazing. Amazing. And we know that it's hard to do that. It's real scary, right? Because were you scared to do that? Okay.
Oh my God. I was literally watching myself, just sitting there. It's like, mom. And I always thought like, well, I don't like ice cream. Who needs ice cream? I like it. And oh my God, I just ate so much ice cream. And I still, to that day, that's really my favorite thing. And,
okay. So through all of that, you never got sick of ice cream, huh?
No, I mean, I don't eat that much anymore, but
Right. Yeah.
it's my favorite.
Okay. The reason I ask is because myself included, I've seen that some people will say I ate it so much in recovery that anymore, like it just doesn't sound good. So,
I
so
have it with pizza. Yeah, I'm done with pizza. I had too much of it in the
oh,
beginning.
totally. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned that when your now husband, then boyfriend, when you guys first got together and he was saying he is your husband, you said, right?
Well, fiance, yeah. We're almost there.
Your boyfriend.
Yeah.
You had started to eat more when you were with him, and weight gain started to happen right away. So then when you decided to do recovery, you had to go through the weight gain process all over again, right?
Yeah, but that was nothing compared. When I was the first time, I didn't know what I was doing. It's like kind of unconscious recovery. I just gave in a little bit. I was not eating everything, but I was eating more.
Okay.
And so back then I might have put on maybe 7 or 10 kilos. But during my real recovery, I almost put on 35 kilos. So a lot.
Okay. Yeah, which is super normal. And I think that the more we talk about this, the more people will understand that that's going to happen. It's a temporary situation. It's necessary for healing. You went through it. So, and how did you feel about it emotionally? I know that's probably a silly question, but.
No, I mean, at the beginning, I felt actually really, really good because it just gave me a lot of energy. And I felt, I don't know, because I followed my intuition. For me, this all felt real and right. So that's why I was a little scared because right away, my heartbeat went up. Like I was sweating. I had a night sweats for weeks. I was tired. I was breathing hard, and everything felt very scary.
Right.
Later on, I realized, but I just deep down felt that my body is repairing everything. And I was so relieved that eventually now things will get better. And I also, that was actually when the pandemic started. So I could just stay at home and really taking care of myself. That was a good time for me to do that. I don't needed to go outside that much. I could just really focus on the recovery.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I think the pandemic did help a lot of people in that respect, to take the pressure off. You mentioned night sweats. Any other uncomfortable symptoms that you experienced?
Pain, a lot of pain. I felt so much pain in my whole body. It felt like a truck just went over my body.
Yes.
I'd hurt. I couldn't get out of my bed for the first couple of days, and I was just sleeping a lot. I was really tired. I had also like a little bit of edema. It got worse later. So the beginning was just a lot of yeah. Now my cat comes.
Oh, I see the tail.
There is the tail. So
yeah. You can just be like this. Okay, so you're saying.
No, down, please. Okay. Yeah. So that was actually at the beginning the hardest part. Just a lot of pain, a lot of swelling, tiredness.
Do you have digestive symptoms?
I had a lot during my like my restriction time. I had so much so bad bloating, and I never know why, because I was eating a lot of vegetables, and it was awful. Like I was so afraid going into the public. I couldn't control it, and it was so bad all the time. And I was like, oh my God, will that be forever like that?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It was awful. Like,
when you're restricting, your digestive system isn't functioning properly, and you can't break down that amount of fiber. So
no, yeah. And I didn't know what was going on, what I did wrong. I was just eating so healthy, and yeah. So that fixed really fast. And I also was always constipated. So when I started eating more right away, I had much better digestion. I had a little bit of like my stomach was swollen a lot. Like I had a huge belly. I looked like I was 9 months old, pregnant. A lot of bloating and yeah.
Okay.
But other than that, very fast, I really felt a lot of relief in my digestion.
Amazing.
I could go to the toilet proper, and I had no bloatings anymore.
Yes.
No bad smells.
Yeah. The things we take for granted, right?
Wow, I can tell you, I'm still so thankful for that.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
just in a way that was horrible for me. Yeah.
Yes, I know what you mean when digestive stuff goes on that long and you think, is this
Mm,
truly going to be my life? But again,
mm,
just proof you guys that if you do this process, your digestive system really does heal itself. It's
yeah.
unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you personally deal with the weight gain?
Yeah. So at the beginning, I gained a lot of weight really quick. Like within the first 2 weeks, maybe already 10 to 15 kilos. So it went really fast. So and I got a little scared, of course, but for me it was clear, okay, I stick to that. I'll do this, whatever it takes. I'll go through it. And I started, looking also at other women who did the process, and I just looked at them and I thought, well, I think also women look really beautiful when they are a little heavier. It doesn't need to be like that. So I made myself a little bit more familiar with the whole situation
Oh,
and realized that, I'm still the same woman. I didn't change a lot. I just look different. And I had most of the time I had really good days because I just felt so much better. I really concentrated on my feeling. I felt happier. I was laughing way more. I was way more relaxed with my boyfriend
wow.
because our relationship was also, I was just constantly focusing on food. I was constantly worried. I just was in my whole world
Yeah.
and always angry.
Yeah. Oh my
Uh,
gosh. Yes. Yeah. So your relationship was
yeah.
getting better then.
Yeah, absolutely. I got much happier, and also my sexual appetite also came back. Just say it like that because the hormones kicked in, and
It's a bonus. Yes, yes.
yeah. And later on, he
Go ahead. No, no, no. You go ahead. I'll ask you
yeah,
afterward.
just later on, he actually told me that when I was so really thin, he didn't tell me not to hurt me, but he said I was not attractive to him anymore. I didn't really look like a woman. And he could feel that, there were these, I would say, as just with animals, they can sense like if the hormones and everything is in check, you are attractive because you are fertile, you are healthy. And as much as we want to try to, distance ourselves from animals, we still are animals. And this is
Yeah.
how it works. So I was not angry with him or anything like that. I could understand. But I found it interesting that he said that, and now, but I'm healthy and happy. I feel very attractive. So that changed a lot. And when I felt, things got much bigger for me, I had to change my clothes and all that. I had my bad days where I cried over it. I had a huge belly. I usually I'm very flexible. When I started doing a little yoga, I couldn't bend over anymore. So I just felt huge. I don't know how to move anymore.
Yes.
It made me sad because I thought, wow, will this be forever like that?
Yeah, exactly. Were you worried about what other people would think about how you look?
Yeah, because I identified myself with that thin, fit, sportive woman who's always in control, who always has everything in check with herself and with her food. And
Yeah.
I was even looking, a little bit like I was even a very, very arrogant person on that level because I looked at other people and was like, wow, look at me. I'm able to restrict myself that well, and you just eat all that garbage. So I was not a good person on that level.
Right.
And then of course if you build that huge persona around yourself, everything was just falling apart. I was not that person anymore. I was lazy, I was bigger, I was not restricting, I was eating everything I wanted.
Yep.
And so I had to deal with that, and I had to find other things about myself that I felt, this is my true self. So I did a very spiritual way in the same time where I looked about what is the core essence of myself, like the soul, what is that? And
Amazing.
really going deep and going back, that helped me also on a professional level. I finished my PhD back then. I was a very career orientated person, and then I also felt very empty because that didn't fill me, now I'm spending a lot of time in nature and just really connecting with myself, with animals, with plants. I slowed down a lot in many ways. And that what recovery did for me, it slowed me down in
Yeah.
any ways because I couldn't move anymore, not that fast. And I just didn't want it to. I also stopped exercising, which I think really did the trick for me that
Perfect.
fast, just eating everything I wanted and also not exercising.
Yep.
Just a little stretching. Just I really felt into my body. What do you want? And I started building a relationship with my body, sitting in meditation and just feeling, how do you feel today?
Oh,
And realizing what's going on in here. I felt like there is some pain here. Why is the pain there? And
oh my God.
it was a very beautiful journey on that level, because I was the first time in my life with myself,
Yeah.
just really close to myself and acknowledging what a beautiful human being I am, not sounding like weird,
Oh,
but I
well,
guess it's important. I guess it's important to realize that what your body can do. And I was astonished every day,
wow.
then I felt, wow, when I got my period back, I was under the roof. And the
Wow.
first time in my life, I thought about what my body does for myself or for me, and I'm able to live on that earth with that body. And over the time, I really appreciate it a lot. And I had one day where I think I was on my highest weight, where I felt so heavy and I just felt so unattractive. And I thought, oh my God, how will that ever end? And I was at that point where I couldn't go back. I was, I think, half a year all in. And
Okay.
I thought, well, there's no way way back for me. So what I'm going to do now? That was really something that I hit a wall, and I really sat down, and then I don't know how, but I came across with also a manifestation, and just that everything in your mind, it starts here, it starts in your head, what you think about yourself, how do you want to seen by others, and why do you need self-value from other people, all these things. And I remember that I just sat down, it kind of hit me. It's like, well, I'm why would I make my own value depending on other people's opinion and on my weight and on the way I look? And from there, it was like, a curtain was lifted. And then
Wow.
I forgot about my weight. I just forgot about it. I just lived my life. And then a couple of months later, I realized, like, my face looks like I'm losing any weight. Also, I felt with my clothing. And
Wow.
then like also I was not hungry anymore, not that hungry anymore. I felt like I wanted to move a little more. And then really, really slowly, I lost weight. I think until maybe the last couple months. I think I'm really stable now.
Okay.
But so I'm almost it's almost 2 years ago that I went all in.
That's
And
amazing.
I felt recovered after a year. So I really felt that this is good now. I feel good. And I think it took another half a year to really, for me to most of the weight to come off. I don't know how much I weigh, but I feel very comfortable where I'm right now. And I went back to exercise. I enjoy weightlifting. I changed also. I was very much into Irish dance before I went all in. I was also very competitive dancer. And Irish dance is a
Wow.
very, yeah, but it didn't help, as a dancer, you want to
No,
look,
no, no.
very nice and very elegant.
Exactly. You want to look like a dancer. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yes. It's a lot
Yeah,
of.
so that didn't help.
You're right.
And
You're right.
yeah, so but I always thought that I really liked that, but I was using it as a tool because Irish dance is a very exhausting. It's a very you jump a lot. It's a lot of cardio and strength at the same time. So I think there's not much more that you can do that is just burning so much calories than Irish dance. And now I don't like it anymore. It's so funny. I can't. I just don't want to do it anymore. It feels like way too heavy for me. I don't want to do it. And
It's truly
so
amazing.
yeah, it's crazy. And now I ended up with I really like the weightlifting. We have a little studio here in our house. And whenever I feel like there's no schedule, it's like I feel like, oh, today I can do something. And it's very intuitive. And also I see my body is responding very intuitively. So it's nice. I'm not doing this in order to lose weight or to look a certain way. I'm just doing it because I feel good when I'm doing it. So, and that's the big difference now. I would have never thought that this is actually possible.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Truly incredible what happens again when we do really get in tune with our bodies, because it's one thing to just go through the recovery process like she talked about, but she took it a step further, you guys, and went the more spiritual route, if we can call it that, and
Yeah,
really got in tune with her own body. And that's what really makes this process
yeah,
really
it
go
does.
with this. Yeah, yeah.
Does.
I
And
forget, were you, go ahead. I'll ask you about
I'm
affirmation.
just, yeah, just saying, I'm, I can't express how thankful I am. And if I say that, I actually feel like crying because I just appreciate my life so much more now. And every day I'm so grateful. Like, even if I have my breakfast in the morning, I still remember the times where I had to push myself and I was so hungry and I still pushed myself further. And now I'm just apologizing even for my body and myself that I did that to me, and that I promised, I will always take good care of myself, really listening to my body and never, never, ever restricting, not consciously. Sometimes,
I love that.
happen if you don't have food with you, then you have to wait a little longer to eat.
Right, right.
But whenever I realize that even there's a slight thought about this, I, go ahead and just have my ice cream. Yeah.
Right. So that you're constantly challenging that fear, right? And it's never getting to take back control.
Yeah, well, it's not much of fear with me. It's like, but this was always like that. When I'm stressed, I lose my appetite, and I'm right now in a very stressful situation. I'm writing my second book. I
Oh,
changed my job.
wow.
And I had like yeah.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Thank you. I also, when I actually, when I got my period back, I also actually got pregnant very fast, but then I had two miscarriages in a row. And I think that happened, and actually another one recently, but I think it happened because my body was not there yet. I pushed it so hard for so many years that it feels like, wow, it needs a little more time to recover from that before I actually am able to hold and keep a baby and nourish it as well. But that, yeah, also, you have to have a strong mind for that, for these things, to really deal what's coming at you in life. And if you're constantly hungry and you don't have energy, how you want to deal with things in life? It doesn't work.
You're right. You're right. And I'm so sorry that you went through miscarriages. That's also extremely difficult for so many women. Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, it's but I that's also something with the all-in journey. I do see, these things you can't control.
Yeah.
There's just something, it just happens to you, and then you see, okay, what can I learn from it? How can I deal with it? What can I
What was my body trying to tell me?
Yeah, what was my body trying to tell me? And I also got help on that level, and I realized that there was still some of these thoughts left, that if I become pregnant, then I will gain more weight. And so there was still a little bit left, like I'm not ready yet to give up control on that level. So we worked on that as well. And so step by step, you come closer, and you really see how things loosen up a little bit more each time.
True. So
Yeah.
true. Absolutely. Now, did you, with this process of, learning to start speaking to your body and everything, were you doing specific affirmations as well, or what was your practice like?
So my practice, also before recovery, was actually meditation. So I was just sitting in silence in the morning and in the evening for 20 minutes and just, watching my breathing. But back then I didn't do it in a very conscious way. I was just doing it in order to become better, become more concentrated,
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
so-called like mindfulness.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and now I'm doing it much more conscious, in a way that I'm really feeling what's present. So I'm really asking myself in the morning, how do you feel? My body. I try to feel my heartbeat, and I appreciate. I put myself into a state of thankfulness that everything works the way it does. That I'm very thankful that it works that way.
Yeah.
And I even took it a little bit further now with also writing my book, that I have like real manifestations where I already vision how does it feel when it's done? How will it look like? And I did that also during my recovery process. How will it feel when I'm there? When I'm absolutely happy with my body, when I'm able to do the exercise. And I was just closing my eyes and really just really, it takes a little bit of practice, but once you let go and really feel that, you can think, wow, it's already there. And then you take it into your day, and you think you're thankful for that. And I heard it somewhere where it said, you won't be thankful if it's not, if you don't receive anything. So there's no thankfulness in vain. If you are thankful, then it will come to you. It's already there. It's already there. So if you put out first that thankfulness, that eventually you will be there. And that's what I did at the end of my recovery a lot, because then I got more familiar with the process. I just was so happy that, eventually I will be at that point. And then it felt like even I'm already there. I'm actually already there. So,
Exactly. Yeah. It's like in the process, you're already building that self-love and that self-confidence, so that you're not waiting for this one magical day where the weight's off. You're saying, I'm going to feel this way about myself right now.
Yeah.
And then let the rest be attracted to me. Right.
And it's so much about energy. I always like, well, you have to look a certain way to to be beautiful.
Right.
But if you really put yourself into that energy where you glow from the inside, you are, you feel happy that you are on earth and that you can experience all these things. You see it maybe even as a game to just play a little with things. And then you have already like a different attitude, and you go onto the street and people look at you differently. You don't need to look in a certain way. It's all about your energy that you're sending out. So and that's what I learned.
I could not have said that better myself. I could not agree with you more. That's brilliant. Brilliantly said. Yes.
Thank you.
So, welcome. So I think it's safe to say at this point that recovery has really helped you to love yourself and your body. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. As I said, I'm really thankful that I went down that path, and it was hard, I have to say. It wasn't easy, but everything that I learned, and I always felt guided by the universe, as weird as it sounds, but it felt like this whole thing is for me. It's not against me. It's something that actually wants to bring me to a place where you feel much better, where you heal on the way. And if you see it that way, then every challenge you come along, it's always something that you can grow from, and it's just getting better and better and better. And this is how I experienced it, and this is how I live my life.
Exactly. It's not going to sound weird to this community, I promise you. Into this stuff, right, guys? So I'm going to ask you, from your perspective, do you think that you would have been able to, well, and maybe I should ask you this first. Do you consider yourself fully recovered now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. And you, like a year in. Do you think that you would have been able to become fully recovered if you had not done the practice of building self-love and getting in tune with your body?
No. No way. And I was there, I thought like, okay, now I'm done. And then I came back to these thoughts. If you still identify yourself with something, if you still add your self-value to something, if it's your job, if it's your body, if it's another person, eventually these things will go away. Even, we get older, and if I attach my self-value to my body, I don't know what will happen with the next 10 years. So really learn that the value comes from something else, like from deep within the person you are, the things you love, and the way you act with people.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. That was absolutely necessary. And it did the last thing for me to really put me at the place where I am.
Incredible. Yeah, because we want life to be more than just, okay, I have, I've recovered in terms of I have a good relationship with food now and my metabolism's good. We don't want it to just be about those things, right? So I love what you said about truly making our self-worth about so much more than just our bodies and what we're putting into them, right? That's not our self-worth. Absolutely. Oh, this is so amazing. Thank you so much. This is truly one of the greatest interviews I've had the privilege to do. So truly. So I think, as I think you've already pretty much touched on this, but overall, how would you say your relationship with food is now?
Free, relaxed, and happy.
I love that. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's these three words. They fit. Well, I don't think about food anymore. I see it. I'm very thankful that there is food for me that nourishes me each day and gives me energy for all the things I want to do. Enjoy my food. I try to, get the food in a very good quality to also give something back to the environment where it comes from. I eat everything. I'm not a vegetarian anymore, but I really try to have good quality food, not only for myself, but also for, as a biologist, just to give something back as much as I can.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. So now you have this great relationship, this balanced relationship with food.
Yeah.
Your metabolism has stabilized.
I think so.
Health challenges you were experiencing pretty much have either gone away or at least
yeah, I don't have anything left. Everything cured from you. There was one thing that was so bad during my restriction time. I had constantly bladder infection. I had to go to the toilet so fast that I couldn't hold it. Sometimes I have to say it, I peed in the supermarket. I'm sorry to say that, but I couldn't hold it anymore. And that was I should say that now, but I'm just honest, I was devastated. I couldn't hold it. And I went back home. I told my fiance, it's like, I don't know what's going on. There's something wrong with me. So I went to all the doctors. They checked everything. They even thought I have multiple sclerosis. So my nerve system was not working well. So it went really down for me for a long time. And eventually this is all gone. There's nothing left. And I think from what I researched, I think I just nourished myself so well, over the time. My nervous system recovered. All the pathways are good now. I think I was literally eating myself. You have these the protein cover around the nerve cells, and if you starve yourself, these things go away, and then the cells infect, and so they can't function well anymore. And I guess that was the reason. And now this is all gone. So I'm 100% healthy. I would say I feel healthy. I'm happy. My period is regular to the day, and so all the things are just gone. I have no multiple sclerosis, nothing. I don't know what it was just eating and resting. That was everything I had to do.
Wow. And your energy because you went through like the fatigue stage of recovery, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
There's no getting me out of bed, right?
Sofa, bed, fridge, sofa, bed, fridge. No, I have a lot of energy now, like a lot.
So then I was going to say, then you got energy back and you're feeling really comfortable in your own skin. You feel like you finally love yourself. I mean, truly, like, can we say enough? Like what recovery can truly do. So I think that you're the poster child for recovery.
Yeah. So it changed my life absolutely. So I was at the end at that point. I didn't know what else to do. So that was it was my my last chance. I really have to say that I was done with everything. Mentally, physically, and yeah, I got my life back, just to say that. Like even more, even now my life is much better than even before I had all that. Yeah.
Wow. If anything, and I know this will resonate with you, it's like we go through this process in order to learn, who we truly authentically are and get in touch with that so that we can finally have not only full permission to be our most authentic selves, but actually feel good about it, right?
Yeah.
What
was the question? Sorry.
No, it's okay. So like, I feel like before, when we're going through childhood and we go through this eating disorder, we get so out of touch with who we really are, right?
Yes.
And I feel like we go through recovery in order to help us, because it's like our body's way of saying, I really want to be me. And if you would just let me heal and like get in touch with me, then we could truly be who we're meant to be, right? Instead of who we think we're supposed to be to make other people like us. Right?
Absolutely. Especially at that point where you really detach your self-value from the opinions from other people, then you can truly become yourself. You can truly do the things you love without worrying what other people might think. And, it was not only about my body and my health, how it changed. It also changed for me seeing how my professional life will go. And I decided I'm way more intuitive now, not only with food, but also what is good for me. What does feel good for me, with which kind of people, which kind of relationships, what kind of places, and jobs as well. So my
Yeah,
whole life is affected by this. Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly what I meant. Thank you so much for saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final words of advice for anybody watching, or anything else that you wanted to add?
Yeah, so I really think if you're in your recovery at a point where you feel, it's not getting any further, you're stuck, this is not for you, you should go back. Don't go back. Really try to figure out, what is this that keeps you back? What is that thing in front of you? And I know it's hard. It can be really frightening. You don't want to look at it, but it's there for a reason, and it won't go away. Even if you go back and, you just want to strict, it will come back in another place, in another time, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So this is the time now to look at it, and to be brave. And you can do this. Life doesn't give you anything that you can't deal with. So and see it as a opportunity to really jump over that thing that is always in the way, that makes your life harder. And after that, I can promise you, things will just slow, and things are easy, and with the recovery and other things as well, you won't attract the same situations anymore, just because I think life wants to show us, wants to show, look at this, there's something that is stuck in your energy system, an old memory. Try to get rid of it, and then you can live your life the way you're supposed to. So this is what I really, because I hear that sometimes from women, also because I started my own journey documenting it. There was nothing in German when I started the recovery, and I thought, it would be nice for people who can't speak English to have at least some information. That's why I documented it. And I get a lot of emails from women, and also saying, I don't know, it's not working for me. And so there are already a couple of questions I can ask, and I can see there is more, there is something, a belief system, an old memory that wants to be looked at. And I'm sure if you do this, things get easier. So
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes. I love, oh my God, you have so many great things to say. And truly, like, you're so inspiring. I hope you know that.
Well, I don't know. I just, with these things, just thank you very much. I just did what I wanted. I just felt like this is what I have to do. And at one point, I realized, maybe I should document it, so other people. At that point, I really started the documentation when I went all in. I didn't know where this will go. I didn't first recover it and then shared it. I was really live, and people could follow me to see what will happen. So there was no making it any better, or no, they just followed me, and I saw how my journey went, and asked me, how did you do this? And I just shared honestly the way I did it. And so I thought, at least all my mistakes, maybe that will help other people to not do the same. And so don't take that long for recovery. Don't go back and forth, and don't spend a lot of time or years, even in my life, almost half my year, my life, just running away from something, and just living in fear without even knowing. So that's why I guess I just wanted to share that. And thank you very much for giving me the possibility.
Oh my gosh, it's my pleasure, truly my pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on here and sharing your story. I really, really do appreciate it. And, and I have no doubt that this interview inspired you guys so much. I hope that everything that she shared helps you to believe in the process more, and see how important it is to do this other piece that I might always talk about, but it's so helpful to hear it from somebody else who has been through it and has seen from firsthand experience that it really, truly does work. So again, thank you so much. And thank you for the work that you're doing, because you're using your platform to then help other people. So you're amazing.
Thank you very much, Jessie. Also, I love that what you do, the way you bring that to the people, and sharing also your own experience. So all the good things are back to you as well.
So most of your channel is in German, correct?
Yeah, in the beginning, I started only recording in German, but then, other people, also English speaking, they came and they thought, can you please translate it? We can't understand. So the last videos from the last year, the first part is German and the second part is in English, the same, just translated. So, yeah.
German or not, I would love for you guys to go check out and support Madlen's channel. So where can they find you?
So yeah, I have my website, madlenziege.com. But this is basically my professional, it's about my biology, the work as an author and artist. But there also you can find my YouTube channel. I have a pod and video cast about biology, but at the same time, there is a playlist with, it's called Maddie Goes All In. And there you'll find all the videos from the first day where I decided to go all in until now. So lately I haven't really recorded. The last one is actually our interview that I uploaded, but every once in a while I do a little, just update. But since for me, nothing really changed anymore, and I'm recovered, I don't really think about these things anymore. And if there are a couple questions, sometimes I make a video and to answer them, but also, I encourage people to write me an email if they have questions. And sometimes it's just that people can share, and just want to talk about it, and it already helps them. And so that I love doing this and just sharing my experience. And it's nice to meet all these women and the story behind it, right?
All over the world, right? Too.
Yeah, more than we think, though.
Yeah. So I will put all of her information in the comment box below. And if you guys have any questions for her, then you can also put those in the comments. So again, just thank you so much, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank you.